You are standing in a parking garage. It is empty. It is quiet. The fluorescent light above you flickers once, then holds. And something inside you, something below thought, below language, below any rational part of you, decides, in an instant, that you are not safe. Your chest tightens. Your eyes sweep the shadows without you telling them to. Your feet slow, and your ears open up, scanning for a sound you cannot name. Nothing is there. But your brain does not care. Because your brain was not built for parking garages. It was built for a world that wanted to eat you. Here is what no one tells you about the human nervous system. It is not a modern machine running ancient software. It is an ancient machine running inside a modern world it was never designed for. And the fear you feel in that parking garage, the unease you carry into crowded rooms, the way your heart rate climbs when someone reads your message and does not reply, none of that is broken. All of it is your threat detection system doing exactly what it evolved to do. The problem is that it cannot tell the difference between a lion and a late text. Neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux spent decades mapping what he called the fear circuit inside the human brain. What he found was a shortcut so fast it bypasses consciousness entirely. The moment your senses pick up something that resembles a threat, a small almond-shaped cluster of neurons called the amygdala fires. It does not wait for the thinking part of your brain to weigh in. It sends a cascade of stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, surging through your bloodstream before you have formed a single conscious thought about what you are reacting to. The body moves. Then the mind catches up. This is not a flaw. This is the oldest survival upgrade in the mammalian toolkit. Think about what your ancestors were navigating. Not abstract fears. Not social anxieties. Not the fear of failure or embarrassment or being perceived as uninteresting. Real, physical, immediate death. The grasslands of East Africa, where early humans spent millions of years, were not safe. They were shared with hyenas, leopards, lions, and other predators that were faster, stronger, and better armed than any human. The reason you are here, the reason any human is here, is because your ancestors were the anxious ones. The ones who scanned the tree line. The ones who startled at the rustle in the grass. The ones who did not wait to find out whether the shadow was dangerous. The calm ones got eaten. Psychologist Martin Seligman proposed a concept he called biological preparedness. The idea is that evolution does not start from a blank slate. Humans and animals are not equally ready to fear everything, they are preloaded to fear specific things. The things that killed their ancestors. Snakes. Spiders. Heights. Darkness. Faces contorted in anger. Separation from the group. You can condition a rat to fear almost anything by pairing it with an electric shock. But the conditioning sticks harder and lasts longer when the threat is evolutionarily ancient, snakes over flowers, angry faces over neutral ones. The fears that have been killing humans the longest are the fears that live deepest in your nervous system. This is why you can know, rationally, that the spider in your bathtub cannot hurt you, and still feel your heart slam against your ribcage when you see it. Your cortex knows. Your amygdala does not care what your cortex thinks. And it goes deeper than specific fears. Your brain is running a threat detection algorithm that was calibrated in a world where false positives were cheap and false negatives were fatal. If your ancestor heard a noise in the bush and ran, and it turned out to be nothing but the wind, the cost was a few wasted seconds and a racing heart. If your ancestor heard a noise, decided it was probably nothing, and stayed, and it was a leopard, the cost was everything. So the algorithm learned to overfire. To flag threats that are not there. To see faces in shadows, intent in ambiguity, hostility in silence. Anthropologist Lionel Tiger called this tendency the biology of hope, but the mirror of it is the biology of dread. Humans are uniquely capable of imagining threats that have not yet arrived. Of worrying about the future, running through worst-case scenarios, constructing elaborate catastrophes out of incomplete information. Every other animal responds to present danger. You can be terrified of a thing that does not exist yet. Of a conversation that has not happened. Of a diagnosis you have not received. Of a recession that economists are only beginning to predict. You are not weak for feeling this. You are extraordinarily well adapted to a world your body no longer lives in. Think about social threat. For most of human history, being rejected by your group was not merely unpleasant, it was a death sentence. A human alone on the African savanna is a human who does not survive the night. The social bond was survival. This is why the pain of rejection activates the same neural circuits as physical pain. Researcher Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA scanned the brains of participants who were excluded from a simple online ball-tossing game. The regions that lit up, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the anterior insula, are the same regions that process physical pain. Your brain does not distinguish between a broken bone and a broken friendship at the neural level. It responds to both as threats to survival. Because, for 2 million years of evolutionary history, that is exactly what a broken friendship was. And so you lie awake rehearsing arguments. You replay conversations looking for the moment you said the wrong thing. You monitor tone in messages. You track changes in energy and notice when someone seems distant. You are not being paranoid. You are running ancient social threat detection software in a world of 7 billion strangers and asynchronous text communication. The software was never updated for this. Here is where it gets strange. Your threat system does not just respond to external danger. It responds to uncertainty itself. The psychologist Archie de Burker conducted a study in which participants were subjected to mild electric shocks. The finding was counterintuitive. People were more stressed when there was a 50% chance of receiving a shock than when the probability was 100%. Certainty, even certain pain, was less taxing on the nervous system than unpredictability. Because unpredictability is exactly the condition under which predators hunt. They do not announce themselves. They wait. They vary. And your nervous system learned that if you cannot predict the threat, you must remain permanently alert. This is why suspense is more exhausting than bad news. Why waiting is harder than knowing. Why ambiguity in a relationship drains you more than an honest conversation about something difficult. Your nervous system interprets uncertainty as a predator in the grass. It holds you at readiness, cortisol elevated, muscles slightly contracted, attention narrowed, until the uncertainty resolves. Until the threat declares itself. Because in the world your brain was built for, the thing hiding in the uncertainty was almost always real. You live in a world where most of the uncertainty is not a predator. It is a delayed email. An unread message. A job interview outcome. A medical result. None of these can kill you in the next 3 seconds. But your nervous system does not operate on the logic of the next 3 seconds. It operates on the logic of 2 million years. The next time you feel that flicker of unease, in the quiet hallway, in the crowded elevator, in the beat before someone delivers news, notice it. Not as a symptom. Not as a flaw. But as a signal from the deepest layer of what you are. Something ancient and precise, still scanning the tree line. Still listening for the sound in the grass. Still keeping you alive, in a world it was never built for. And the parking garage? Still empty. But now you know why it never felt that way.